Okay, I think we're live. I've got to welcome everybody. I'm just going to turn it around. There we go. So this is where we are today in my little studio. And I'm just going to get it straightened out so I can see you and I can see some of your questions. Yeah, it's sideways again. I was told that if I did it this way, it would work. But I think it's still sideways. If I turned it on beforehand. But you're seeing it sideways, aren't you? So I think I'm going to have to turn back this way. It's a smaller view. But it seems to work. So I'm going to pass that. Hello, Annette Vautour and Betty Perouche. How are you, doll? Nice to see you. Juliette Hood, Deborah Scott. And I'm going to pass this over to Robert. And you can start here, Robert, on me. So today I'm going to go over a few things. I've pulled out a sheet that I have a lot of questions that people frequently ask me, and I just want to go over a couple of things. And this video, it will be available. I'm just going to hold just straight. This video will be available on my website under the Wool Cake blog. Okay, so we will have it up there. And it'll be on YouTube too. So I've drawn I've drawn two rugs on here. And this was one I was working on yesterday. And I just want to talk about it for a second. Because do you know those plates with the cabbage roses? Anyway, I gotta get this so it's working on my... Okay, I'm doing a little live video now. I think it's working. I'm not sure. Okay. I'm going to test it. This is where we're going to go. Can I just check something there, Robert? Is it still? Yeah, we're okay. Okay. All right. So I'm just trying to find the video here. Is it live? Can everybody see it? I'm just trying to... Is it working? Yeah.
Seems to be.
Is everybody working? Yeah, okay. All right. Well, I can't see it. So I'm going to refresh this. Sorry, you guys. It does take a few minutes to get everything just right. So the thing I want to teach you today is about this cabbage rug. One of the things I want to teach you, there's a few things. One of the things that I know that happens to people is they get midway through a rug and it doesn't look good to them. So this little cabbage roses that I did up last night, they are really more like cabbages than roses. And it is a rug that I made, and when I was making it about halfway through, I didn't like it at all, and I just want you to know that sometimes you will go halfway through and you'll get halfway through and it doesn't feel right. And I think that's the time to really press on, especially if you're designing your own or coming up with or if you're coming up with your own ideas, because that's the place where you're really uncertain. It's just about halfway. And so, I mean, this rug isn't perfect and it's not everything I want it to be, but it sure does remind me of those plates that I see sometimes with the old vintage plates with the cabbages. Now, one of the questions I promised to answer for somebody is, when you're using a Shedicamp frame, can you do small rugs on it? I can do a rug that big on a Shedicamp frame, or I can do a rug this big on a Shedicamp frame. It doesn't matter. The key is when you put your backing on, make sure that you can just draw your rug, okay? And you can draw like 3 or 4 little rugs on there. You just need to make sure that either you have enough burlap so that you can or linen, that you can pull it to the sides and hook it in the cup hooks. That's really important, okay? And it works like this. I'm going to grab what I've done here is I've rolled on 4 or 5 feet of burlap. So I can keep rolling it. I can cut these ones off and sew it again, or I can just roll them and hook more. You can do either, okay? So the work we're going to do today is we're just going to do some simple lessons, because I know that you want to know some I know that you want to know the answers to these things because you keep asking them. So one of the first things I want to do is just talk about how do you hook a circle. Simple, okay? So we're going to just focus on so I'm going to pull my piece of wool up, and there's nothing different to hooking a circle other than following the line of the circle, okay? But that is a question that we get asked a lot. You just go all the way around. And Robert, could you go just underneath so we can show that pinch? Because I think that's really important. See how I'm pinching the wool? I'm pinching the wool. I'm always pinching the wool. And I'm guiding my hand just like that, okay? Just doing a simple pinch, okay? So there's two, and there's just two circles, okay? So that's one of the things. So there's nothing really to think about when you're hooking a circle. What I want to do now is I just want to talk about how do you turn a corner when you're hooking. So all you do to turn a corner is you put your hook down, bring up the loop, and now if I want to turn a corner, what I do is I stop hooking and move to the next spot, and I start again. So instead of keeping going, I move over. I move my hook over before the wool and catch it like that. So we've got 403 people watching. Thank you. So just watch. I'm going to turn another corner. And what I do when I turn a corner is I move the hook over. Okay? Very simple. Just very, very simple. And then I'm going to clip off my ends. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pull all these out. Okay? So that was those were just quick little lessons. And then I'm going to talk to you about a couple of things. I'm going to talk to you about design. One of the things that I think is really important in learning about how to hook with freedom is to close your eyes and hook. So one of the things I like to teach people when they come to my workshops is to close your eyes and then just pull the loop up like that. And the reason why I teach people that is because I want them to understand that it's really about your hands working together more than it is about you watching every stitch. So now, if you could just practice that a little bit, just close your eyes and hook a couple of strips, and it will really get you thinking about how my two hands need to work together. All right, now I'm going to pull that out. All right. So what I want to talk about today is composition in hooked rugs. So when you get a pattern from me, the composition's all done. But it's really important that you have a focal point. So we are going to create a focal point here. And this is just a bush, okay? And then we're going to create some hills. This is going to be a lovely little rug. I can tell already. So there's some movement around. And over here, I'm going to talk about the sky. And so what are we doing with the sky in this rug? So see me, I'm holding my pen very loosely, okay? And so now I've created sort of a basis or an outline for that sky, okay? All right. I'm going to have to turn my frame around. So we've got a foreground, a middle ground, a background, and we've got a sky. And we've got something to focus on, which is over here in the corner. Now that could be anywhere. And I'm going to put a little bit of stuff down here too. Okay? So everybody see that? So now I'm going to give you a quick lesson on the sky. So if I was going to choose colors for this rug, if I was going to choose colors for this rug, what I would do is I would go to my, you can see how I have my wools all laid out, and I know that I'm going to want to use some canoe in there, so I'm going to put that down, maybe some light greens. I'm going to lay some light greens down. So that's the first thing that came to me. Now, if I'm going to go with those light greens, then what I need to do is find maybe 1 or 2 other colors that I think are going to work in this rug. So I think I'll pull this rose, maybe? No. That's what I do, though, is I'll go and I'll poke around. I think I'm going to pull this coral color. So I know this coral color's going in here. So if I get 2 colors, and those are the colors for my rug, now I choose the sky color. So, you know, you're going to take those colors and you're going to look around and choose your sky colors. So I'm going to go quite deep with this sky, and I'm going to use Sexy Jersey. Okay? And I need some whites because I want to show you how to hook a cloud. And I'm going to pull that too. Those and some light grays. So that's the lesson today. Robert, are we getting any questions?
Having a look.
Let's see.
More hellos from different places.
Yeah, more hellos. Okay. Yep. All right. So I'm going to show you how to hook a cloud, and we'll go from there. And that'll be our main lesson for today. So you can see I drew the cloud on. And I'm going to choose a few different creams for my cloud. I'm going to choose a little bit of this sari, and I showed you last week. It's nice to cut it in 2. Goes a lot further that way. And I'm also going to pick out some really light gray because I think that will work. And then some other whites. Oh, hi, Auntie Dee. Hi, Haley Perry. How are you, girl? Nice to see ya. Haley, my niece, runs Loop by Loop Studio in Massachusetts. So, here we go. I got my strip of yarn. Is there any difference between hooking yarn and cloth? Not really. It's sometimes you might use 2 strips of yarn. So, because I drew that on really loosely, I can go around a little bit. What I don't want to do is outline this whole thing, okay?
Somebody said I have difficulty with wool strips twisting when I pull them through.
What I want to know is does it matter if they twist a little bit to you? Because if it doesn't matter to you, if they twist a little bit, then it's okay. So that's the thing. Mine twist a little bit too, and I kind of like it. It kind of gives a little, I don't know, a little energy. So there's my cream yarn, and I'm going to start here in the middle. It's what you don't want to be in any kind of art is you don't want to be too predictable, okay? So I'm just going to move that over. So you can see that inside this big cloud, I keep making smaller clouds. Now here's a wool strip. So let's see if mine twists, okay? There's a little twist. I think it still looks great to me. If you're hooking, if you don't want to hook in straight lines, then twisting is going to happen. It's gonna happen. So you can see
when you use the fuzzy yarn, do you make the ends any different when you clip them?
No. I do want to show you a little technique that I do use a lot. So when I pull up my end, instead of pulling up the end and having it up like that, a lot of times what I do is I just hold it and I pull up a loop. So the end is cut underneath, and then underneath I cover the loop with the yarn, with the wool cloth, and I go to the next, so there's no end. And I do that a lot. I just found myself doing it. It wasn't anything I really planned or intended. Okay, so there's my yarn, my cloth is in there, and you can see that the two are mixed together really well.
Me to go closer.
Sure. Yeah. Now, one of the things I want to, if you're going closer, just look at my hook. See what an angle the hook is on? Can you show them the hook? Yeah. See what an angle the hook is on? And when I'm going down, I'm catching the edge. That's really important. Because if I'm trying to catch this, it's going to be a lot harder. But if I just catch the edge, then that makes it so much easier for me. I'm going to take this beautiful sari now, and I'm going to mix that in over here. And I'm going to kind of do it in like a little tiny cloud. So the cloud itself is like little tiny clouds inside of bigger clouds. Now we're taking this nice big merino. This is a yarn that we especially dye in the studio. And normally, the other thing normally is I would hook everything else before I hook the sky. It's usually the last thing I hook. So I would just keep doing this to complete this whole entire cloud. It's the same thing. And then I would do a similar thing to finish off the sky. Okay, I would pick some blues. We've already seen that I'm going to go with quite a deep blue. And I'll probably add, I'm just going to show you, I will probably add a couple more blues to that. So I'll probably, you could add that to it. I think what I'll do is add this to it. This is our, it's from our Sunday Drive collection. And it's a beautiful, beautiful deep blue. And I should have some cut up here already. Yeah, I do. So I'll grab that. And I'll grab it in the 3-ply too. So sometimes what I like to do, and that's going to be my sky. Sometimes what I like to do is I like to use a 2-ply and a 3-ply together of the same color, because I get a different texture. And that makes it really fun. All right. So, and then, like, say this just showed up on my frame. Maybe I'll just use that one strand down by the hill, you know? Like, just stay open. That's the thing. You just got to stay open to ideas. So let's finish off this cloud. So I've got this little bit of light gray. I'm going to pop that in there. Then I think I've got enough action in this cloud now. There's enough going on. So now is the time to just finish up with the yarns that I'm not going to keep introducing new yarns. I'm just going to finish up with the yarns that I've already introduced. You don't need 10 different yarns in a cloud. You can get away, or 10 different kinds of cloth in a cloud. You can get away with just a few. You could even get away with one. But the more interest that you put into your mats, like the more variety of textures, without it becoming a textural mess, you know, because that can happen too, the more interesting it will look, and the more interesting the image will look when it's completed. So that is your cloud, and then this will be my sky. I'm just going to show you how to cut sexy jersey. So the jersey is just, it's wool. It's I think it's like 97% or something wool. And you just take it and you fold it and you cut it in strips, and you cut it quite wide. And there is a video at the top of the Sexy Jersey page of me laughing and carrying on that shows you this. But it looks to me that this is about a 1/2 inch wide. Okay? Right there. And that's how you do it. And I'll show you how to hook jersey in just a second. Okay. I want to thank you all for joining my newsletter list. I know a lot of you have joined, and I know a lot of you share my Sunday letters with people, and I really appreciate that because it helps me grow. You know, when you're writing for someone to read it. So it's a really nice thing that you share that, and I just really appreciate it. I want to thank you for doing that for me. And also, thank you for joining my newsletter list. And if you haven't joined, you can do it at hookingrugs.com. Okay, is there any questions, Robert? You guys have any questions?
Somebody about a house.
About a house.
I hooked the roof.
You hook the roof?
Yeah, how?
How do you hook the roof?
Yeah.
A lot of times when I'm hooking the roof on the house, I hook on a slant. Yeah. Right? So if you just kind of go with the angle of it. But really, a roof is a pretty simple area. So if you're just, like, even if you just fill it in, you're probably going to be okay. But I sometimes like to go with the area. I'm going to add that one other little bit of gray in there. And there's our cloud. And that's how you hook a cloud. And you do the same thing with the whole sky. So if you do your blues like this too, that's one way to make a nice looking sky. So that's your lesson for today, everybody. Any other questions?
Well, there's lots of questions, I think.
Okay, well, let's see what we got. Did you post last week's sailboat? You know, I don't know if I did. I can post it though. Are all your loops the same length? No, they are not all the same length. Definitely not. They're all different lengths. What else we got here? Got some other questions?
Do you do every loop, every hole, like when you...
No. Oh. No, you do every second or every third hole. It's about the width of your strip. So if your strip is wider, then you hook in less holes. And if it's narrower, then you're going to hook in more holes.
Where are you going to put the blue?
Where am I going to put the blue? Yeah. I'm going to put the blue in behind the cloud. Just like that. So that will be the blue. Any other questions? What do we got here? Hi, Susan Sutherland.
Do you tend to hook on burlap or linen? And when would you use each type?
Well, I would use linen if I wanted I would use linen for sure if I was making a floor mat. This is burlap that I'm hooking on now. I use burlap a lot for small decorative pieces. Maybe they're going to hang on the wall or they're going to be framed or whatever. Burlap lasts a long time too, and it's just a personal preference. Some people don't like to hook on burlap, so they don't like the way it feels. It's a little rougher. But I like it. I like it a lot. And my grandmother used it. My mother used it. It's kind of a tradition. So I hook on burlap a lot. I find it really, really nice. But linen, burlap is more likely to rot if it gets in contact with water. So you have to be careful about that. And linen, it has, it has durability. But I think the oldest hooked rug in Canada might even be on burlap. So, it's still it depends on if you want something to outlast you and you want it to be an archival quality and you want it to be an heirloom, I would say hook on linen.
What are we going to do with these colors?
Those are going to be, the greens are going to be, why I brought out those greens and the corals is because I can't really decide my sky color until I know what's going to be in the landscape. But I wanted to give you a little lesson on sky. So, that, the look of the day kind of determines the color of the sky, right? So if you look out and it's a gray day, then the landscape has a gray cast. And this is going to be sort of going into evening, I think.
Would your sky loops be any lower?
No, they'd be about the same height. Yeah.
And what other frames do you like?
What other frames do I like? I like the laptop, the gripper frame. That's the other frame that I like, is the tilting gripper frame. Those are the two frames that I use. I barely ever use a hoop, but I understand that people need to be able to use hoops because they're just getting started and they're not so expensive. So, yeah. Anything else?
Someone said the oldest hook rug is in New Brunswick. Or from New Brunswick.
Is it? It's from New Brunswick, yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, there you go.
And,
I think it is.
And on burlap.
Yeah, and it is on burlap? Yeah, that's what I thought, but I didn't want to say that for sure. Thank you.
How many shades of blue in your sky?
I'm going to use 2.
What?
2 shades in this sky. Now, sometimes I might use 10, right? But this sky's going to be this is going to be deep. And I'm going to put some deeper colors in there.
Do you cross over other loops on the back?
No, I try not to. Maybe 1 or 2, but that's all. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I try to be good.
Can you ship the laptop grip frame?
Oh, yeah, we ship it. We ship them everywhere. Yeah.
Any of the frames?
Any of them, yeah. We ship them, for sure. We also have a new frame now that my neighbor's making. That's a laptop frame with a stand. So it's adjustable to your height, and it's on the website under frames. I'm going to do this while we're talking. Is there any more questions?
How do you distinguish sky from water?
By color.
When they meet.
Normally, or by by color, or by putting in if you put in a horizon line, that will also work. So if you put in like a line of black or dark plum between them, that will also work.
Can I change the rods of the frame to work on different projects in the same time?
Well, you could if you had extra rods. Yeah, for sure.
Someone asked if you work on more than one at one time.
Yeah, sometimes, but normally I'll finish that piece and then so this piece is on here, it's all done, and now I'm over on this piece. So normally I will finish one and go back and forth, but sometimes I do diptychs and triptychs, and then I'll...
Oh, someone said I moved the camera too much. We're bowing out.
Oh, that's okay. Okay, I think it can make them nauseous if it's moving too much.
Yeah, that's what they said.
Sorry.
I should be sorry, I guess.
All right. I'm glad, Susan Beckman, you love your Shed a Camp frame. Any other questions?
Someone asked if you hooked a wearable.
I have in the past. To be honest, I'm not crazy about them. That's the truth.
You did purses before.
I've done purses, I've done pillows, I've done collars for coats, but I really didn't ever wear them. But I saw someone is doing borders on hats, and they look like fun. Yeah.
Christmas ornaments.
Yeah. You can hook anything. So I'm going to wrap it up. It was really nice that you came. We had a lot of people, and I'm really thankful that you came. And I'll see you guys later. Take care.
You want to shut it off?
Yeah.